Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be doing once again another Walking Dead review for the latest episode that just premiered earlier tonight on AMC. I just finished watching the show, and I did not stick around to watch Talking Dead. It's currently on as I speak, as I record this. By the time I'm done recording this, I'm sure that the crossover character will be revealed. I may or may not do a video on it, depending on who that character is and how excited I am, or how much I do or do not know about this character. Or I may just share the official story via Facebook on the EdWord Facebook page. So watch out for that. Okay, before I begin, of course, two things. Number one, I'm trying a new camera angle tonight. I want to see how this looks or how it works for you guys. If you guys don't mind, or if you like this camera angle, let me know in the comment section down below, or simply let me know by hitting the like button to let me know that you like this new camera angle. I'm just trying something different, see how it looks. And then, of course, as usual, if you're not caught up on The Walking Dead, do not watch or keep listening to this episode review, as it will be full of big spoilers regarding the most recent episode. So, you have been warned. That being said, this one was a bit slower, but it was a good filler. It was a very good filler. I really enjoyed it. I think what I liked about it so much is that their plan, they finished the first stage of their plan, lure a huge walker herd to the sanctuary, surround the sanctuary, and then take out all of the outposts, or nearly all of the outposts. And now they're going to move on to phase 2. What I loved about this episode is that through dialogue and through visuals, it showed us just how well thought out this intricate plan of theirs really is. Like, they set up a communication system for themselves. They were passing messages and notes to each other between the three communities. And apparently their plan includes the scavengers, the people who betrayed them at their first standoff with Negan and the Saviors in the season finale last year. And I guess either desperate times call for desperate measures, or Rick and his people sincerely believe they can work together with the scavengers like they once briefly did. But obviously, Rick did not seem surprised that they took him captive. I mean, I'm sure he was surprised that he was stripped naked and put in a hot, sweltering metal container. But he didn't seem surprised that he was taken hostage, although he did confidently state that his people knew he was there and they know what to do next, with or without him. So I think perhaps him getting taken hostage is part of their large, intricate plan, because if their plan was to include the scavengers, they must have anticipated that the scavengers were most likely going to take Rick alive or kill him on sight. And obviously they're not going to kill him, he's the main character, but they did take him alive. So if this is part of the plan, I am absolutely intrigued and fascinated as to what exactly our allies intend to do with Rick now in the captivity of the scavengers. I really enjoyed it. Put a smile on my face. I don't know if it was a good impression or a bad impression, but I really like seeing Jadis do the sculpture of Shiva pouncing. It was clearly Shiva. Now, some people could argue it's just another tiger, but let's be honest here. There's no other tigers on this show, unfortunately, anymore. So, I love how Shiva's pouncing or attack really left an impression on her, and she was like making a sculpture, perhaps in honor or respects to her, or maybe out of fear almost. Either way, I thought it was pretty cool that she was making a really well-designed tiger sculpture. I thought that was pretty legit. I'm very curious if Jadis intends to fully side with Negan, or if she's just keeping Rick temporarily to try to sweeten the deal. If she is going to take Rick up on his offer, if she'll make more reasonable or perhaps more outrageous demands, only time will tell. I thought I'm getting a little nervous that Tara and Daryl, especially Daryl, are getting a bit rogue now, because it doesn't seem to fall in line with the elaborate plan that they currently have in place, and that is apparently working, as the messages said when our characters were reading them. But at least they had that awesome scene where they stopped the truck full of speakers from reaching the sanctuary. Because as soon as she was driving off, you're like, oh, shit. But soon enough, this dump truck comes out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, damn, who is that? And then, of course, Daryl and Tara. Very nice, very nice. For some reason, I thought it might have been Morgan, or I maybe thought Morgan would appear in the woods with Carol and Henry after she scolds Henry for following her. But no Morgan, but he's still out there wandering around. But from the promo for next week's episode, it looks like we'll see him again, at least hopefully soon. I also love, speaking of Henry, I love how it just shows you this might be a case where it's like desperate times call for desperate measures, or perhaps she simply has no other choice but to let him follow her. I love how Carol reluctantly brings Henry along to continue the fight against the Saviors. Or I don't know if she was actually going off to fight the Saviors, but she was allowing him to walk with her for the time being. And the kid's clearly been training, and he may not be a master fighter, but I'm sure he's adequate enough. I don't know how effective he'll be in a big firefight, but I'm sure he's more than I'm sure he's more capable than he was last season. And quite frankly, most of the Kingdom's fighting force, a majority of them are dead, so they really do need all the bodies they can spare. And unfortunately, that may include a child soldier like Henry. I really enjoyed getting a nice, awesome view of Sadiq, the new character, the character we encountered in the season premiere a few weeks ago, or a month ago, and we learned a little bit about him. It also amused me that when Carl asked him, how many walkers have you killed, somebody finally gave us a body count. Like most of the other characters, don't really give us an exact number. This guy gave us an exact number, 237, give or take a few. I thought that was really interesting how he's been keeping track of how many walkers he's killed. I thought that was very interesting. It just kind of put a smile on my face because I'm like, wow, somebody answered that question with a number for the first time. That was good. And speaking of putting smiles on my face, I loved how Maggie used Gregory's logic against him. Don't let wolves walk amongst the sheep, which, he's right about. It's risky keeping the Saviors there as prisoners, but I also loved how Maggie's like, he's absolutely right. Throw him in there as well. That put a smile on my face because I'm like, oh, yes, thank you. You're putting that weasel in his place amongst the other monsters as well. So, well, Gregory's not a monster, but he's definitely a little sniveling little weasel, and I'm glad that he's being thrown in there as well because she's absolutely right. They can't necessarily trust him right after he tries to sell out the Alliance or just Hilltop to the Saviors. So I'm glad they took that action. I'm glad they did that. And then Maggie also said something else that really struck a chord with me. And obviously, this is applied to her situation and to Aaron, how they've both lost their significant other to the enemy. And when Aaron asks her, does it ever get easier? She says no, but it's better to do something about it. And I really like the lesson that she presents there, is that if you're angry or if you're in pain for whatever reason from something that angers you or something that bothered you, instead of stewing in your anger or self-pity, do something productive about it. And I think that's exactly what she means. And like by taking charge of Hilltop and leading the fight on the Hilltop front, I think that is her doing something. I mean, I'm sure she's in pain over Glenn's death like we all are, but she's doing something about it. And I think that's one of the reasons why Aaron and Enid have now gone off on their own to make sure that they win. Unfortunately, I don't know if this is going to affect the whole elaborate plan or if this is all part of the plan, but it seems like a number of our characters are going off the edge here and they're letting their emotions get the better of them. Daryl, Tara, possibly Rosita and Michonne, or maybe they're just feeling resentful that they've sat out the past couple episodes. But it was nice to see those two back in action again and seeing them pair up for their own little solo outing and, their little cool fight scene in the warehouse. But, I'm very curious as to what the overall plan, what the next phase of the plan is, and if it involves Rick being captured alive or not. or if they'll have to work around that. And hopefully the rogue tendencies of some of our other characters won't compromise the elaborate plan too much. But another solid episode from The Walking Dead. I enjoyed it. Not nearly as exciting as the past couple episodes, but you know what? Sometimes it needs to slow down for an episode or two before it can pick back up again and get all action-packed and exciting again. And from the promos, it looks like that's what we're going to get. But this was still a great episode, because I love how it laid out, or at least gave us a lot of good visuals and exposition as to how the plan is going and to what exactly the plan is. Well, guys, what did you think of tonight's episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you like it? Was it not that shocking? Please feel free to leave your thoughts, opinions, and your feedback down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear from everybody. As always, you may disagree with one another, of course. We're all entitled to our opinions, but please keep it civil and be respectful of one another's beliefs and opinions, of course. Please, no internet trolling. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel as we continue to follow along the Season 8 of The Walking Dead, with only 2 episodes left of the first half of this season. You know, we're getting close to the mid-season finale soon, and that's probably where everything will come to a head back at the sanctuary. How that'll turn out, only time will tell. All right, guys, have a great rest of the night. Thank you so much. I hope you all had a wonderful, very filling, very fun holiday weekend, and get to a good start tomorrow, Monday morning. All right, guys, thanks again for watching, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.